Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. We are joined here today by One Tree Yoga and just the one half of One Tree Yoga, Gabe, joining us here. Excited to have her here. Would you mind introducing yourself to our listeners and viewers today?
Absolutely. So I am Gabrielle Hop, and I am in Omaha, Nebraska. I am one half of the dynamic duo that owns One Tree Yoga. And we are a yoga studio. We've been in business for over 20 years. We've got 2 locations in Omaha, and we're also on the web. You can take most of our classes via Zoom, and you can also find tons of classes and meditations on our YouTube channel.
Awesome. And how do we reach you? It's onetreeyoga.com and on YouTube as well.
And on YouTube, you can DM us through Facebook or Instagram. You could also send us an email. Our email account is info, like information, info at onetreeyoga.com.
All right, so it's time to meet our yoga teacher today, Gabe Hop. Tell us about yourself. This is good. We get to go back to the nitty gritty here. I love it.
Yeah, Allison and I were talking, and it's always like really nice to humanize your yoga teacher, to like know some personal details. And yoga teachers get put on a pedestal a lot as sort of this, we have this like kind of superhuman reputation. When people like learn about us having real lifestyles, it's like, oh, thank God, like I am also a person slogging through. So that was our idea behind the show today. So,
but you're here to dispel the myth. You're not superhuman. You're a human just like us. Tell us. So
exactly.
Tell us about yourself. If you don't mind anything too personal, you can, it's up to you what you want to share or not share. But clearly we'll learn about your yoga journey, but just about you in general as a person. I think it's good to get to know. I agree.
So I actually live in a tiny town that's between the 2 largest cities in Nebraska, Omaha and Lincoln. And so I'm about a half an hour outside of Omaha. It's a little town called Ashland. It's super cute. It's like a Hallmark movie town.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Ashland, Nebraska. I'm going to look that up.
It's a total destination for people from Omaha and Lincoln, even people all over the state. Just like a ton of really cute shops and really, really sweet place to be. So I live in Ashland with my husband, Lucas. We've been married for almost 7 years. It'll be 7 years next week. And we have 2 little boys. They are on the cusp of 5 and 3. And our oldest, the almost 5-year-old, is named Ralph. And our little guy is named Teddy. Let's see what else. So
Do we have pets? Do we have any pets?
Yes, we do. We have 1 cat. We have an old 3-legged cat named Moose. We hope that she, is with us for many more years, but she's 17. So she's getting up there.
Oh, well, would love to hear more. Okay, so we got the family. You got, just curious, were you born in Nebraska? How did you get to Ashland?
Yep. So I was born in Council Bluffs, which is a teeny town across the river in Iowa. That's where both of my parents grew up. But I grew up in Omaha. I went to 12 years of Catholic school in Omaha. I went to Catholic grade school and then an all-girls Catholic high school. And then at the end of that, I went away for quite a few years. So I did my undergraduate degree in Evansville, Indiana, which is a fairly small town in southern Indiana. It's a liberal arts college, which was why I chose it. And then I lived in California briefly to do my internship for my undergraduate degree. Lived in the Central Coast of California. And then I came back and I did a graduate degree at Lincoln, which is like the big school, the big university in Nebraska, the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. And then I bopped around for a while. I spent several years in Minneapolis. I spent some time in Prague in the Czech Republic, in Austin, Texas, and then finally the woman who owned One Tree Yoga at the time, this was in like 2013, she said, why don't you come back to Nebraska? We need somebody to team up with Allison to do teacher training. We have a management position for you. You can basically like be a yogi as your life, which
Mm-hmm.
is, what I was dying to do. For years, I was teaching yoga and then like waiting tables to make it all work. So this was an opportunity to be a full-time yogi and I couldn't say no. So I've been back here for almost a decade now.
Wow, well, excited to have you. Excited to hear your backstory. And then here you are, obviously as a co-owner of the yoga studio and as a mom, as a wife, you got a
Yeah.
lot on your plate. Do you still have time for other hobbies besides yoga? I mean, is there something that we should know?
Believe it or not, I do. So I am someone who, my flow state is like, give me a to-do list, 25 things long, and I
Mm-hmm.
will like very happily work through, check all those babies off. So, I live a pretty full lifestyle. So, um, I have a side gig, which is that I sell vintage clothes.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, I've been doing that for over a decade as well. And I got into it when I lived in Minneapolis. I worked at an antique store, and the woman who owned it, she taught me how to identify vintage clothes and how to, know like what they were worth. And my sister and my cousin are also into it. So the three of us kind of, we have been doing this together for a while. And it's just like this really fun hobby that I do. I love outfitting people. I fancy myself a somewhat of a stylist of, how people will look in vintage clothes. And, my goal is always like that I can provide something that people feel really good in,
Mm-hmm.
something that's flattering for their body shape. So that's kind of my main side gig hobby. Um, my degrees are both in music, and so we have a family piano that we inherited from my grandma. My husband plays guitar. I play some guitar. So we've got music going on in the household,
Do the kids
which
play
is
yet?
awesome.
What do
They
they?
are, yeah, they have all of their like kid instruments. So the boys, they have like shakers, they have bongos, they have a little, mini guitar. Um, the older one loves to like do extemporaneous songwriting, just like pretend he has a microphone and make up lyrics to
Oh.
songs. Yeah, so everybody's in the music mix.
And
Um,
oh, go ahead.
yeah. Uh, the other main thing that I like to spend my time doing is reading. I'm a reading enthusiast. I have an awesome book club in Ashland. Actually, I met this group of there's 8 of us, 8 women, and when you move to a tiny town where you don't know anybody, you don't know if you're going to be able to make friends or um, how long that's going to take. But I was super lucky to connect with these women pretty early on, just within a year or two of moving here, and they're all my best friends in town. And it's awesome to be in a book club of with people who are like relatively like-minded, and they're we're all in the same age range, and just the variety of books that we're interested in and choose. It's so cool to like read stuff that I wouldn't normally pick on my own, and I love reading and then talking about it, and you know having that social outlet as well.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite book or
Oh,
genre of books do you like?
I largely read fiction, but I kind of
Okay.
always try to have a yoga book going at the
Mm-hmm.
same time. We're lucky to be in this era of yoga because there's so much literature on yoga, and so you can all
Hey,
I mean,
I got a
there's
question.
yoga books at my tiny town library. Like
Oh
it's
my, well, I don't, to be honest with you, I don't even know. You probably will know the concept of yoga, the name yoga. Where did it come from and when was it developed?
okay. So it's a great question. Actually, I just taught on this weekend,
Oh,
so
good. So you're,
very
you should.
timely.
I was
Yeah,
like, if you have to
yeah.
Google, I could Google too. I'm like, wait, tell me.
So we're going to go all the way back to like 1500 BC.
Oh, wow.
That's, yeah. So we're talking, 3,500 years ago. Um, it's basically like that's when the first teachings on yoga started to proliferate. It um, it doesn't get like really solidified into yoga as the way that we
Okay.
think of it until like 1300, 1400 AD. So, but still,
Yeah.
600 years ago. But the early teachings of yoga, they come from India. The word yoga means union, or like the root word translates to the word yoke,
Okay.
Y-O-K-E, which with the idea to like yoke
Okay.
oxen to a
Got it.
cart. So the yoking over the uniting of something,
Okay.
and yoga can be the uniting of lots of things, but like in modern times we think of the mind body connection.
Mm-hmm. All right.
um uniting our like individual consciousness with the cosmic consciousness, like just recognizing our space within humanity and how we are all interconnected.
Got it.
Yeah, there's the quick and dirty on where yoga
Didn't
came
know
from.
that. I learned something
Yeah,
new. That's not, yeah, that's like a basic. We've had quite a few sessions, a few podcasts here. We've talked about this, but interesting. Wow. All right. I'm interested more. And that's still, I can't believe it's that modalities, this modality is that old. I thought it was
I
more like
know.
a
Yeah.
20th century type thing.
No. So, the poses, like originally it was a practice of meditation and breath work
Mm-hmm.
and energy work, but the poses, they're 600, 700 years old, and we still do them today, right? It's like they're not different than what they were doing 700 years ago. And I love to teach this material. We were just teaching it in our teacher training program this weekend. I love to teach this material because it's like humans were doing the same thing, 2,000, 3,000 years ago. They were thinking about the same things, and they're still totally relevant and pertinent today. It's absolutely fascinating.
Awesome. All right. Now clearly your passion is yoga. That's what we're, here talking about. But is there something in particular that you really love? Like, do you have a favorite yoga type of yoga? Do you like certain classes better than others to teach or to take? Share your thoughts on that if you can.
Yeah. Oh, it's so hard to pick one favorite. Um, so I started out as a hot yogi, which I think we've talked about hot on the program. It's 105 degrees. It's the same 26 poses every time. It's this very disciplined practice. So that's how I started. I was into the like rigor of this
Mm-hmm.
is hot, this is hard, this is disciplined. Um, and then I branched into basically all the other styles of yoga, and I truly practice them all. I practice more athletic aerobic vinyasa style. I love to do more long hold stability with lots of props, hatha style. I like to do low key, lay on the floor, restorative, and lay on the floor and roll around styles as well. So if I had to pick a current favorite, I would say it is our hybrid style that we call Vinyasa, which is like a slow flow. It's just really accessible. It really like is feels just lovely in your body. And in my slow flow classes, I try to always include 5 minutes of meditation, so you get that mind body connection as well. Um, I will also say that yoga, when we think of yoga, of course, we think of like poses and the body, but tons of yoga practices are not body oriented. And
Mm-hmm.
so, one of my favorite other things to do yoga wise is chanting. So we chant, or like sing a chant in the Sanskrit language that like exemplifies the qualities of something that we want to like bring with us as we do our practice.
All right. Thank you. I gotta ask, do the kids do yoga too?
Yes, they do like to do spontaneous yoga.
Mm-hmm.
I am someone who, like I totally want them to do yoga, but also when I'm doing my practice, like that's my practice time. So I tend to like keep it a little bit separate. But their dad likes to do yoga, so they
That's what I
do
was gonna
some
say.
yoga with
Is it a
him. And
family
yeah,
affair? So dad does
yeah,
too. Okay.
he does. Yep, yep. And he's an old school yogi. He learned in college, so he's been doing yoga for 20, 25 years as well.
Does he take your classes? Or do you
He
try?
did before we had kids.
Oh, now who has the time, right?
Right, exactly. Occasionally, my folks will take the boys for the weekend and he gets a class in here and there. But yeah, not as easy as it used to be.
I know. Well, what is a typical day like for you now? I mean, let's talk
Yeah.
weekday compared to weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. So, small business owners are kind of always working. And Allison and I are lucky. We are able to be business owners and do what we want, like do our passion work, but also take care of our kids. And so,
Mm-hmm.
a typical day for me is like kid stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
from the get, first thing
Yep.
is kids stuff. But I try to, as I mentioned last week, I think I try to start my day with meditation. So
Okay.
I do my best to get up before anybody else. And I sit right on like the pillows in my bed. And I try to do 10 minutes of meditation before I do anything else, before I look at my phone, before I go get coffee. And so meditation and then kids
Yeah.
stuff. And then once they, start playing together, usually after breakfast, they're game to like do Legos for an extended period of time. Then I can get on the computer and do some administrative work. Um, in my ideal world, I would have a little bit of time for practice once I drop the older one off at preschool and the younger one takes his nap. Give me a little practice time in the afternoon, and then I go teach in the evening, or sometimes I teach in the morning. Um, so teaching is a big part of it. And then Allison and I have our once a month teacher
Team.
training program. So
Mm-hmm.
there's one weekend a month that she and I are at the studio all weekend.
Got it.
So it's
Now,
kind of like, you're just kind of piecing it together. It's like, I know that, I have this ongoing to-do list of yoga studio things that I have to do. And I'm just kind of, for now, I'm sneaking them in while the kids are playing together or napping or, at preschool. And so looking forward to in a couple of years when they're both at school and I can maybe take on another class or,
yeah, I was gonna say, oh my goodness, that's hard. Yeah. And what time is wake up time for you and for the kids? And what time do you go to bed?
I try to get up at, so I go to bed. I I try to get in bed about 9:30 and I'm
Mm-hmm.
sleeping by 10:30. And then I'm up at 6:30. I'm an
Okay.
8 hours minimum type of gal. The kiddos are like 8 or 8:30 to 7:30 typically. The
Wow.
older one will sleep in a little bit later, but the little one, he's up and at 'em.
Mm.
What about you? Are your kids early
I
risers?
No, we get up at 7:30 now. I spent half of
Hmm.
my life getting up at 2 in the morning, basically, for all those years working for the morning
Oh,
news. So
of
now,
course.
now I, with my new schedule the past few years, I have normal hours but now I really need my sleep and it's like I'm catching up
Hmm.
for all the lack of sleep. I really believe you can. We get up at 7:30, literally jump up, and the kids get on the bus at 8:20. So I try to sleep
Hmm.
as late as possible. I make sure they bathe the night before and they're
Yep.
dressed. So that cuts out so much headache of trying to pick out the outfit, who's fighting to wearing what, go down,
Right.
breakfast, brush teeth, and then the day begins, right? Because then work is like 9 o'clock for me or 10
Yeah.
and till 4. Then they come home from school. And then every night though, now this is when they get a little older. I don't know their activities, but my guys have, oh gosh, well, wrestling, soccer, football, ice skating, religion now. It's every night they have to be somewhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
We
hard part.
are,
That I
yeah.
never accounted for. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
So Allison and I have an absolutely amazing life coach, and she told us to start thinking about, like plot out the future of your business based on the fact that you guys are moms and that in the next few years your little kids will actually be medium kids who will be in 1000 activities and who is going to bring them and how is that going to work in
Yeah.
your in your
Life.
yoga
Yeah.
life
Because at
balance.
nights, yeah, you probably used to teaching classes at night. All of a sudden it's like, well, I have to be here,
100%.
have to be there. Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
whole nother aspect. It's very stressful. No one ever warned me to plan for this.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it. I just thought
I
yeah.
I kind of knew it was coming because I was a really active kid. I was in a bunch of things. But it's always different in reality than what you think it's going to be like or what
Hmm.
anybody tells you it's going to be like.
And by the way, what's your birth sign?
Oh, I'm a Capricorn.
Oh, January what? Did we discuss this? I'm January 10th.
Oh, I'm the 12th. We're
Oh
so
my God.
close.
Oh, cool, 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 cool. I don't know. Oh my gosh. And my son's the 5th, so we
You,
got it.
your son's the fifth. Okay. Do you have like strong Capricorn qualities?
I think so. I think so. Like I think, like, I think so. Is OCD part of them? Yeah.
Well, like the yeah, kind of controlling, like
That's it.
wanting to be in charge. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting. Oh, cool. I didn't know that we shared that aspect. All right. Wow. See, we're learning a lot today here. Gabe, just remind us for listeners that are just tuning in, onetreeyoga.com is the website. And again, how else can we reach out to you? Again, beginners, intermediate, advanced. You offer all types of courses, men and women, and virtual and in person if you're in the Omaha, Nebraska area.
That's right. We got it all. A great resource is our YouTube channel, One Tree Yoga. There are tons of videos of like varying lengths and abilities and styles, and some that are just meditation or just breath work. So if you want to get to know like how, we teach as a studio, that's a great spot to check it out. And then we're on Zoom in most of our classes, with the exception of hot in person. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook and our website, onetrioga.com. And we also have some like online training videos that you can purchase. So you can purchase like a 5-week beginner series that you can do in the comfort of your home with notes and like how to practice. So that's a great resource for brand new people as well.
Awesome. What else do we need to know about you? Come on, come on. We still have 5 minutes. Let's talk. Any juicy scoop? Come on.
Oh, the juicy scoop. Woof. Let's see. Well, we can talk about, I think it's always interesting to hear people's own yoga journey.
Yeah,
How did you get into this?
for
So,
sure.
when I was about 10, I was hanging from some monkey bars,
Oh no.
and I know, here we go.
It's
And
happened to me too.
when I let go, hit the ground in such a way that I fractured my spine. So my lumbar spine was it like compressed. And my dad is a physical therapist and he's a hands-on physical therapist. So he decompressed it, but didn't we didn't know that it was fractured. And I was in a lot of pain, but it was like my parents are awesome. I'm not trying to disparage my parents, but it was like it was like right before the first day of school. It was like the first week of school, and they thought that I just didn't want to go to school. So
Hmm.
they were like, go to school, you're fine. um, I wasn't. But so my dad continued to work on it, and it basically um, the fracture healed but wasn't well aligned.
Hmm.
So then when I got older in high school, I started to experience a lot of back pain. I had to wear a back brace for
Ah,
years, and I had to do like I went to chiropractic and PT again, and we can briefly considered having surgery. And my dad is, he's like into holistic medicine, and he was like, "Why don't you try yoga?" So and of course, I was like, "You don't know anything, Dad." So I put that off for a couple of years. But when eventually I did, I started to do the DVD that he gave me. I was like literally instantly hooked.
hmm.
Um, this was in 2003, so this is actually my 20th year of practice, and I loved it. And I did it like every day. It was a DVD with Patricia Walden. She's a really famous yogi from the Iyengar school of yoga. And I did it, I'd say for like a month. And then I went back to I was like home for Christmas from college. And then I went back to my university in Evansville, Indiana. And there was one yoga studio. And I started going there 4 times a week. And really just like, it was like that instant connection. I kind of never looked back. I've had periods where I practice more than others, but I've just always been drawn to it, and I've always wanted to know everything there is to know about it and fully immerse. Now, I did my um, this is maybe my juiciest scoop. I did my first teacher training program in Prague in the Czech Republic because I was I was trying to stay for a long time with an ex-boyfriend who was in Prague. So I went, so I was able to get a longer visa because I was like basically in school in a yoga teacher training program. So it was not like maybe the ideal program, but it was a great thing for me to like do while I was there. It meant that I like made friends and I had something to do while I was there. And and that actually set me on the path of teaching. So
Mm-hmm.
that was 2009. And then I started teaching like right in 2010, as soon as I was done with the program. And like right away wanted that to be my life's work. So I've really gone all in since then.
Amazing. And the expansion of your own business and how exciting that is, right?
It's so
I know
exciting.
you because we talked
Yes.
about that last time about how it's changed, where it's like you're owner operator, but now it's like now you've come to the point where you have people working underneath you to help manage everything, right?
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
it's not you doing everything, picking up the phone,
Yes.
answering the call, scheduling. Yeah.
Totally. What a dream to be able to delegate here
And
and
what's the
there.
dream for the future for you and for One Tree Yoga? Let's end that way. Do you see any future what are your expectations and your hopes?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's something that Allison and I talk about all the time. So, um, there's the precedent set at One Tree because we've been in business for so long, and we kind of like, I think people are always like, how are you going to grow? How are you going to make more money? How are you going to, it's like this entrepreneurial mindset. And we're kind of like, well, it's going great. Like, can we just like do what we do best and just keep doing it? So, for the foreseeable future, we see just like the kind of maintaining the status quo, teaching what we think is the best yoga in town, continuing to grow our teacher training
Hmm.
program. She and I are always interested in going to trainings, and so she and I will continue to train on our own and learn more and bring that back to our students. And yeah,
All right.
just
And
kind of
someone out
keep it
there
rolling.
has not tried yoga yet. Why should they come to One Tree Yoga?
Yeah. Well,
Hmm.
yoga, just generally yoga, it changed my life. It sounds kind of cliche, but really it transformed my life and continues to do so on a daily basis. I would not be where I am or who I am without yoga. So um, I I advocate for any yoga practice, but if you come to One Tree Yoga, it's the real deal. We teach yoga as a discipline. We will teach you why yoga matters, how to understand yoga, how to do it in your body in a way that's comfortable and makes you feel better all around.
Awesome. Thank you again. And Gabe, pleasure having you here. If someone does want to reach out to you, onetreeyoga.com is the place to be.
That's it.
All right. Thank you so much for being here, for joining us, and for going solo. Very brave. And we'll see
Yeah.
Allison next week. Thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic day and good luck with the kids. And I'm warning you, it's going to get rough. Rough is so rough. It's so stressful. Tonight is the one night we don't have anything because wrestling ended. I'm so excited. Have a great night.
Enjoy.
I will. Thank
Thanks,
you so
Jill.
much. Bye bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.